Where did we come from? The Bible says, in the beginning, God created. Evolution teaches the opposite. No one created. It all happened by itself. Which one is the truth? This is Headquarters. Doc M. Jackie. And Rich. Their job? Investigate and discover the truth. This is The Creation Case.
Hello, headquarters, this is Jackie.
Hi, Jackie. It's Doc.
Doc M, are you okay? Why aren't you here yet?
My car ran out of gas.
Oh no.
That's okay. Fortunately, I had my bike with me and I'm riding to get some more gas.
I'm sure that's a sight to see.
Well, it's still going to take me a while to get there, but now I'm convinced exactly what our next assignment will be.
Really? What's that?
Fossil fuels.
Ah, didn't you say yesterday you had gotten a letter asking about fossil fuels?
Yes, I was trying to figure out if I should send Rich on this one, but now that I ran out of fossil fuel myself, I am convinced.
Okay.
That letter is on my desk if you want to read it.
Okay.
I'll be there as soon as I can.
Okay, bye. Yep, here it is. It's from Leo in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Dear Doc M, this week in science class, my teacher was talking about fossil fuels and how the oil and gas in our cars comes from dead organic stuff that died millions of years ago. I know I'm not supposed to believe that stuff happened millions of years ago. So what do I believe? Do you know how and when fossil fuels were really made? Thank you, Leo. Great question, Leo. Let's get this over to Rich. Which reminds me, I got the weirdest text from him today. Something about flying over a forest. Rich always sends us the weirdest messages. It could be anything. Back to my desk. Unbelievable.
Do you have a creation question for Headquarters? Send your questions to Doc, Jackie, and Rich by visiting our website at thecreationcase.com.
I think we got a message from HQ. I better check on the other side.
Hi, Rich. I hope you're well flying over a forest, whatever that means. Anyway, we have your next assignment ready. We need you to investigate fossil fuels. We use it to fuel our cars and our homes. It's a very important part of our world, especially today since Doc M ran out of gas. Many scientists and teachers say they take millions of years to form. We need you to investigate the evidence. We look forward to your report. Bye.
I wonder why she thought flying over the forest was funny. Well, we have our new assignment, fossil fuels. I better let them know I got the message. Got message. Fossil fuels. I hope Doc M found some gas. It's no fun running out of gas. It's a reminder how much we rely on fossil fuels. I need to get this in our journal. Fossil fuels. Fossil fuels. Let me think. Fossil fuels can be coal, or natural gas, or oil, and it all comes out from under the ground. So we really need to get to a place where we can see them taking it out of the ground. You know, we really need to go to an oil field. That's one of the places where we take oil out of the ground. And I passed one a few days ago. Let's go check it out.
Help us investigate today. Download and print your own free journal study guide at thecreationcase.com.
Wow, doing all these assignments and running around all over the country makes my Jeep run out of fossil fuel all the time. You know, a lot of things are made from oil. Natural gas, gasoline, even some plastics are made of oil.
Sometimes we just don't realize how much stuff we use every day is made from oil.
We're almost there. Let's get going. We are outside of Bakersfield, California, and we're overlooking this huge oil field. Check this out.
Wow, there are hundreds of pump jacks in this one oil field.
Each one of those pump jacks out there is pumping up oil from deep beneath the surface. Here, the oil is from 500 feet deep to over a mile deep beneath the surface. Oil is also called petroleum, and it's one of the most important fossil fuels we have because we have so many uses for it. So have you ever wondered, what is oil made of? And what in the world is it doing way down there? These are all very important questions. Let's see if we can get a little closer.
Each one of these pump jacks are pumping up oil. Some of these can pump up to 10 gallons in each stroke.
This is a much closer look. So oil is made of basically
Dead organisms such as marine algae.
The common name for all that dead stuff is biomass, stuff that used to be alive. Most scientists agree that the weight of all that dirt on top plus heat would convert all that biomass into oil. The part not everybody agrees on is how long did it take to convert it into oil. Some people believe it takes millions of years to form oil, but now in laboratories they're experimenting with ways to form oil in only a few hours. So really the big question is, how did all those dead plants and animals, the biomass, get so far down there? Evolution teaches that plants and animals died, sank, and got buried at the bottom of the ocean and accumulated there for millions of years. Then, all of a sudden, it stopped accumulating, and thousands of feet of dirt and sediment came and covered it up. Then, heat and pressure converted the biomass into oil over the next few million years. So what does the Bible say? It doesn't talk about oil specifically, but it does talk about a flood that would have the same effects all that evolution stuff just described. A flood would bury tons of biomass and then cover it up with sediment. It's basically the same story. The only part missing is that part about the millions of years. You know, we can't forget that petroleum is also found under the ocean floor. The Pacific Ocean is not too far from here. We need to go check it out. Come on. we've come to this beach here in California because from here we can see an oil platform right in the ocean. Actually, it's one of the closest platforms from dry land in the United States. Just like the ones on land, these drill down below the ocean floor to a pocket of oil where they pump out the oil. As I was saying back at the Jeep, the Bible doesn't really talk about petroleum, but it does give some pretty good clues about how all that got down there during the flood. The Bible says water burst from under the ground and it rained for 40 days. It also tells us that the planet was covered with water until after, when it finally drained down below again. It's a process that took over a year. If that really happened, what would we expect to see? I would expect that trillions and trillions of plants and animals would have died. Would they simply disappear? No, I don't think so. I think they would probably float on the surface for a while and eventually sink to the bottom of the ocean. I would expect that the water would be extremely muddy. After all, the whole earth just got tore up. I would expect to see a massive amount of biomass, living stuff, that would sink and be buried between the layers. We know for a fact that there is a lot of heat under the ground, so I would expect that that heat would help decompose all that biomass and convert it into oil. Lastly, if there were a global flood, as the Bible teaches, I would expect to see all those things everywhere. So, what does the physical evidence on this planet show us? It shows us exactly all those things we would expect to see in a global flood. The evidence is overwhelming. I think I'm going to write that down in my journal.
Buried biomass is powerful evidence of a global flood.
One of the other fossil fuels that we see on this planet is coal. Why don't we go investigate some coal now? For that, we're going to have to travel to a coal mine. Let's get back to the Jeep and go find one.
Hi everyone, Doc M here at HQ. While Rich is working on fossil fuels today, I wanted to talk to you about something else. As we investigate and learn about creation, it's important to understand why we do this. Makes it exciting. It's because we believe in the special book, the Bible. This book tells us the history of our world and teaches us about God, our Creator, who has promised to return one day to take us to heaven. Wow! For a lot of people, the big question is simply, are the things in this book true? I have a couple of pictures for you. You may have heard of the story of Jericho, the walls falling down. Did it happen? Archaeologists have found the city just like the Bible said. Here's a picture. This is exciting. You can also visit a wall in Jerusalem, built by King Herod. He was the king when Jesus was born. You can even go to Bethlehem, the Jordan River, the Sea of Galilee, and the Mount of Olives. You can visit it all. Historians have discovered that the Bible is the single most accurate source document in all of history. The places, the people, the dates, the events, they're accurate. You know, the Bible is more than just accurate about history. Let me give you an example. Here's George Washington. Back when George Washington was alive, the doctors thought they could cure you by removing blood out of your body. When George Washington got sick, doctors tried to help him by removing 80% of his blood. You know what happened? He died shortly after. Of course, today, we know that blood is the life of the body. But wow, years ago, God had already told this to Moses. It's crazy. It's in Leviticus chapter 17. Let's go there. Leviticus chapter 17 and verse 11. For the life of any creature is in its blood. Whether it's dates or places or people or events or even knowledge on how our body works, the Bible is accurate in every sense of the word. Oh, it's super exciting. And it convinces me again that God is my creator.
Hey everyone, it's me, Rich Aguilera. I'd love to see you at one of our live events. To see where I'll be speaking, visit our website, thecreationcase.com.
One of the largest coal mines in the United States is right here in Wyoming.
Like oil, coal comes from biomass. Coal is a solid, oil is a liquid, while the other fossil fuel, natural gas, is, of course, a gas.
Just as with oil, evolution claims that coal takes millions of years to form. We need to go into one of these coal mines and investigate.
Scientists say coal is biomass that has been compressed by the weight of rock layers on top. So if a seam of coal is 100 feet thick, probably hundreds of feet of organic biomass had to get buried there in the first place.
Science offers two explanations for how coal is formed.
Secular scientists say hundreds of feet deep of organic biomass was somehow deposited here over millions of years. No one is sure how or why, just sat there for millions of years. Then hundreds of feet of dirt came and covered it up. The Bible teaches that a global flood probably ripped up the trees and plants and buried them in the ground while the water receded. Wow, what a big truck! As we explore this evolution option, we discover that there are a lot of problems with it. For example, it's common to find well-preserved leaves and insects in coal. How could that be if this was a pile of decomposing biomass for millions of years? It wouldn't be possible. Leaves and insects decompose quickly. No, the evidence shows rapid burial, as told in the Bible.
Another problem is the size of some of these coal seams. They could be hundreds of square miles in size and hundreds of feet thick.
Where could so much biomass come from? It would seem that only a huge event could cause a huge coal seam to form. And there are tons of coal seams all over the world. Did you know that scientists can now make coal in a lab with only a few materials in a month? It doesn't take millions of years to form coal. It simply requires the right conditions. The kinds of conditions you would expect to see in a global flood, as the Bible describes.
Wow, this is a great spot to see the entire mine. I think I'm going to write some of this down in my journal.
A global flood is the best explanation for the formation of fossil fuels.
Wow, that's a lot of coal. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to sketch this.
Since we depend on coal, places such as this coal mine here work 24 hours a day removing the coal from the ground, and then they ship it out on trains. Enormous trucks and machines slowly remove the coal. When they're done, they usually fill these big holes back up with dirt again and plant stuff on top, so it doesn't look like anything ever happened here. It's fascinating watching these huge machines work. The Bible describes the flood in pretty good detail. It talks about the springs of the great deep bursting forth and 40 days of heavy rain. It says the waters rose and completely covered every piece of land. It says every living thing that moved on land died and was buried.
The Bible describes a huge catastrophic event. What we see on our planet today is what we'd expect to see after a global flood. Well, I found today's assignment very fascinating. It's incredible just how much biomass is buried under the surface of the earth. Clearly, only a massive, catastrophic event could have buried so much of it all over the world, and so neatly. Well, I need to finish up my report and send it off to HQ. Remember, if you want to read it, just go to our website.
I never realized just how much stuff is buried under our feet. It matches the biblical account so perfectly. The evidence is quite overwhelming. Tons of coal and millions of pump jacks and oil platforms all over our planet, pumping up oil and also natural gas. And to think it's all made from living stuff that got buried underground.
Most people on our planet rely on fossil fuels to stay warm or to get around. Cars need gasoline, otherwise they probably are not going to get very far. Different kinds of fuel are necessary for different things. Even our bodies need fuel. Good food and water help us to have the energy we need for each day. Without food and water, we will die. Did you know that our relationship with God needs fuel too? Sure, I'm talking about prayer, or singing, serving others, and being giving, or like worshiping God and appreciating the nature that He made. If we don't do these things, our relationship with God won't exist. I hope you make the time every day to fuel your relationship with God. I hope you'll join us for our next assignment. And remember, God the Creator loves what He creates, especially you. Good night.
Wait, we've got bloopers!
Fosilna.
To this beach here.
They got no combustible.
Adios.
Forms all around the world.
Mandara.
The Bible, what does the Bible say? Having Doc run around. One of the other fossil, well, I know, man. To the ocean. To one of the. Blooper.
Fotos.